Hey guys, so it's Monday again, and this week we're going to talk about our coming out process and why we choose to come out or why we choose not to come out in some instances. So for me, my coming out process is broken down in three different categories. So I got the social, the family, and the community. And the social category is more of sort of like my friends and my colleagues and my professors and the everyday people in my life. Um, my family is my immediate family, not my extended family, just my immediate family. And community is my extended family and the Vietnamese community in my area. So those are the three things. I'm gonna talk about the social category first for my coming out process because that was um, those were the people I came out to first. Um, so after I came out to myself and accepted my trans identity, I felt it was really important for me to have a really solid support system, and I I wasn't ready to come out to the whole world yet, to everyone yet. So the first person I ever came out to was my partner, and I came out to her when I was questioning, and then I came out to one of my professors and a really good friend of mine about me questioning my identity, and they were really supportive. They really helped me and gave me resources um, to therapists and links online. And then once I worked through that process, I slowly came out to just a handful more people who I was really close to, people who I've known the longest, who I had the strongest connection with, that I felt deserved to know the most, and I came out to them in person, or if I couldn't see them in person, I came out to them through a very personal email, Facebook message, because I didn't want to for them to find out through a really generic Facebook status. Because to me, these people were really central in my life, and they were really important to me. Not that everyone else wasn't, but these people, at one point or another, held such an important place in my heart that I felt that they deserved to know first, and they were really the solid foundation uh, to be my supportive base in my coming out process. And as I got more comfortable with myself and my transition process, I eventually came out to everyone in my social network, including everyone on my Facebook, my professors in my department, my colleagues, um, my supervisors, and that was a really nerve-wracking process for me, even though I knew for a fact that they were going to be accepting, because I'm very fortunate to have surrounded myself with really good people in my life, really supportive people in my life, and I think it also helps that I was out as a lesbian for 10 years prior, 9 years, and so they're used to that idea. They're used to me being queer or um, out of the social norm. That really helped me. That really built a solid foundation for me to come out to my family, which is the next part. I came out to my brother first. He he acted as my anchor in the family, and even though we were not really close as you know some other siblings may be, he was extremely supportive of me. Even when I came out as a lesbian to him, he's always been very supportive. Um, he would always say that we're family no matter what. and that really helped me through my own coming out process to my family. I came out to my mom later, which is really funny. So before I came out to her, I had to negotiate a lot of things. I had a lot of fears prior because my parents immigrated here in early 1980s from Vietnam, and they worked so hard and so long and sacrificed so much for me and my brother for the past 20 odd years. And my fear coming into this is that I was going to destroy everything, all their dreams, all their hopes. I was really afraid that I was going to put a financial burden on them. I was afraid that I was going to bring shame onto them and our family. Um, I was afraid that I was going to embarrass them to not only our extended family but also the Vietnamese community, which they are very involved with, and also society as a whole. I had a lot of fears going to this. So for a while, I put off coming out to them for a while, but I knew I had to if I was going to start hormones because really I can't hide the physical changes from them if I start hormones. So I really struggled with that for a while, and I talked to my therapist about that for a couple months prior to coming out to them, and she said something that really struck a chord with me. She says, you can come out to them and they be hurt for a little bit, and then hopefully eventually support you, but you're going to feel so much better to be yourself afterwards. Or you can choose to hide who you are and be resentful of them for not accepting you, and be resentful of the fact that you have to live your life a lie. So you either choose a path of being happy, or you're going to be choosing a life of hurt and resentfulness. So I really thought about that for a while, and I eventually came to terms with it, and then I ended up coming out to my mom first um, on my birthday to ease the blow through a letter, through email, by emailing the letter while I'm out of state. It was I was just really afraid, and that to me that was my best bet. Best method, so that it gave her uh, a couple of days to really read it and reread it and process it. Um, and then I was also able to link resources and contact information of support systems that she could utilize for her own transition process. And she replied back almost immediately. Um, you can tell she was really hurt. You can tell she took it really hard, but she was really supportive of it, of me. And she said that doesn't matter if you're a boy or you're a girl, you're my child, and that's what matters. And I'm gonna love you no matter what. And that really, I'm still really emotional about it, as you can tell. Um, to me, that meant the world to me. Uh, we still argue a lot for a few weeks after that because she had a lot of worries. She was still taking hard, but that's normal. That was normal. About 2 weeks after I came out to her, I came out to my dad with the help of my mom, and he took it really hard. But he's pretty much said the same thing, that he just wants me to be happy, and that in itself was really important to me to hear, and I think that's what really helped me um, continued on my journey of transitioning and finding out more of who I am as a person, not as just a trans person, but really who I am. Um, so that was really an important experience for me, and that kind of goes into the community aspect. I'm not out to the Vietnamese community yet. I actually am not out to them as I wasn't out to them as a lesbian prior, so no one knows except for the people who are my age that I grew up with. They know, but like the older generation, the elders, they don't know yet, and my extended family don't know about either side of either part of my identity, and that was really an interesting part to negotiate as well, because my family, my parents are really involved in the Vietnamese community in town. A, a good portion of the community knows them, and so, and I'm not really involved in that community per se. I mean, I know people, but I'm not, excuse me, really into it. So, what was I trying to get to? I want, before I come out to the community, I want them to be ready to come out to the community first. I feel like this is more of their coming out process. Are they ready for people to know about their son? Are they ready for their brothers and sisters to know that their kid, their nephew, I mean their niece is going to be a nephew in the future? It's I don't really know how to approach that just yet. I just know that I have to wait for my parents to be ready first, and everyone transitions differently and at a different pace. And right now it's all of my parents. Right now it's their process. I have to wait for them, and I'm fine with not being out with the community. I mean I've been out. I've not been out to the community. I never have been. So this is pretty much the same experience for me. It's not a lot. It's not very different. But I'm gonna be starting hormones in a couple weeks, so it should be interesting how this will play out in the next couple of months. I might do an update video on this subject on my own private channel, which I haven't really started yet. I haven't really put anything on there yet, but I hope to start updating with more personal things that doesn't really go on this channel. So I'll put up a link later when that's made. But yeah, so that's my coming out process. Um, I don't know if I am missing anything, but for me it was more negotiating identities. It's sort of that negotiating of my Asian identity and my Asian cultural heritage and my family, as opposed to my trans identity, which is kind of rooted into a very westernized idea of individualism of who I am. But I feel like in a way it also connects with um, how my family sees our structure. It's very collectivistic. We sacrifice a lot for each other. And I guess that's one thing I really want to talk about is the thought of sacrificing for the family, sacrificing yourself for the greater good of the family. Like, that's kind of thrown around, and I feel like I'm very generalizing this because it's kind of a stereotype, but in a way it's true for my family. And this is just for my family. I can't really speak for any other family. But for me, I feel like I grew up in having that kind of mentality that I do what is best for the family, even though I'm not having fun or happy in the process. But when I came out, I learned that that's not the case. My parents are sacrificing so much more for me to be happy, and they really sacrificed a lot, and they made it a point that they just want me to be happy. They just want me and my brother to be happy and live a happy life. And I think that's what matters the most to them. I don't think it's what others think of them or what others think of the family. It's the fact um, that we're happy. And I think a lot of what has happened over the last few years with my family really changed their mentality in that aspect. Um, really made them change their view on how to live life and what life means to them. So I think that really helps me in my own coming out process to them. They're doing great right now. They're doing a whole lot better than I thought they would. But I think that's going to be a different topic in the future. But that's just a little bit of my coming out process. If you have any questions or any of that, please leave a message in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. But otherwise, I think that is it. I'll see you in 2 weeks.